started with a text, a casual, innocent message she sent one evening, expecting nothing more than a prompt reply, a simple acknowledgement, the kind of message that slides quietly into someone's day. But this time, he didn't respond. Minutes passed. Hours. The silence was slight at first, almost imperceptible, but in its subtlety, it held a weight she had not anticipated. She didn't notice the shift immediately, but the first ripple of unease crept in like a shadow at dusk. A small tightening in her chest, a fluttering she couldn't place. Something in the air changed. Something intangible. Her mind, ever alert, immediately began to fill the quiet with meaning. What had she done wrong? Was he busy, or had she overstepped? The questions multiplied in her mind, unspoken, unanswered, spiraling into a quiet tension that she couldn't shake. Hours later, she caught herself rereading the last conversation, examining every word, every punctuation mark, searching for the tone he had once effortlessly conveyed. The human mind, craving pattern and predictability, hates unanswered questions. It hunts for coherence in chaos, and this silence was chaos. With each reread, she created a story, filling in blanks her logic couldn't verify. She began imagining reasons, possibilities, hidden motives, even intentions that were never there. The calm of her evening gave way to a low hum of anxiety, curiosity, and something she had not expected, longing. Days passed in this quiet, dangerous rhythm. Each time he sent a fleeting message, warm but infrequent, her brain's chemistry shifted. Dopamine sparked in unexpected places, a micro reward she hadn't realized she craved. The unpredictability became addictive. The emotional high of attention, coupled with the low of absence, created a cycle she couldn't escape. She wasn't consciously aware of it. She believed she was thinking logically, analyzing, observing. But her body, her mind, her heart, they were caught in a loop that science could explain, but her consciousness could not. She started noticing herself acting differently, though she wouldn't admit it. She laughed more brightly when he appeared, spoke with more charm, dressed with subtle care that went beyond casual preparation. She didn't realize it, but these were not attempts to win his affection. They were her mind's attempt to reclaim control in a situation where she felt powerless. She was rewriting herself in response to absence, reacting to the gaps he left with behaviors designed to restore equilibrium she didn't even know had been disturbed. The memories of past disappointments whispered softly in her ear, brushing old wounds she had long thought healed. The fear of being abandoned, a shadow that lingered from childhood, now became tangible, vivid, pressing. Silence was no longer neutral. It became loaded, a signal of potential loss, a threat she couldn't rationalize away. Her heartbeat quickened, her thoughts ran faster, and every small action on his part, even the absence of one, became monumental. She began to chase not him, but the story she had constructed of him, the perfect, idealized version she needed to resolve the tension that grew inside her. Yet, at the same time, she fought herself. Her pride, her ego, her independence resisted the pull. She told herself she was not weak, that she would not be affected by absence. But the mind is deceptive. The deeper layers, the unconscious currents, the trauma of old patterns, pulled her relentlessly toward the one who had merely paused. She felt drawn to the mystery he had become in the silence, caught between desire and self-preservation, craving clarity even as it eluded her. The tension transformed into obsession. Every glance, every interaction became weighted. She interpreted gestures and words with magnified importance, invested significance where none may have existed. Her imagination, previously dormant, grew vivid and insistent. She imagined what he might be thinking, who else he might be seeing, and why he had not reached out. The fantasy became almost as real as reality itself. She could not stop weaving the threads, completing the narrative her mind demanded. And it was addictive. A subtle chemical cocktail ran through her system. Dopamine, cortisol, adrenaline. They surged in unpredictable rhythms, creating highs and lows that mirrored the uncertainty of his attention. She was entranced, drawn ever deeper into a story her own psyche authored. She was falling harder, not for him, but for the emotional experience he had unwittingly orchestrated. Her heart raced at unpredictability. Her mind chased the invisible signals in his silence. Her body remembered the warmth of his attention, craving it as if it were essential for survival. She tried to regain control through action. She smiled more brightly, engaged more intensely, tried to make herself seen in ways she didn't consciously recognize. Yet every effort only reinforced the loop. Her ego wanted dominance, her heart wanted resolution, her mind wanted coherence. And he remained a silent force, unknowingly manipulating the patterns of human behavior that had existed long before either of them met. In the end, it was not the man she chased. It was the tension, the absence, the mystery. It was the internal reflection forced by his silence. It was the reawakening of old patterns, of vulnerabilities, of desires for connection and understanding. The fall was inevitable, not because of intention or seduction, but because human psychology is fragile, responsive, and predictable when faced with uncertainty, intermittent reward, and emotional unpredictability. And this is why women fall harder after being ignored. Not for the attention itself, not for the person, but for the emotional gravity created by absence and mystery, the same forces that have driven human behavior since the dawn of consciousness. If you find yourself caught in such a pattern, here is what you need to know. Awareness is the first shield. Recognize that longing may not indicate love, and that obsession may stem from absence rather than presence. Avoid chasing highs created by unpredictability. Understand that attention is not affection, and silence is not rejection. It is information, neutral until you assign meaning to it. Protect your emotional equilibrium by focusing on your own stability, your goals, your routines, your identity. Break the fantasy loop by distinguishing reality from imagination. And finally, remember that vulnerability exploited is not a failure of character. It is a signal to regain control. As you move forward, ask yourself this: when someone pulls away, when silence takes over the space once filled by words and warmth, are you truly feeling love, or are you merely responding to the emptiness they left behind? And once you see it, will you step out of the pattern or fall again into the gravitational pull of absence, chasing a story that only exists in your mind?